Imagine it was easy to get into Destiny 2. Imagine there wasn't a hulking great barrier to entry explaining 10 full years worth of story, characters, histories, mechanics, and direction. What about understanding the leveling system, abilities, mods, and artifacts in a way that isn't just showing the character in screens and saying, work it out yourselves? Imagine endgame content like Grandmasters, raids, and dungeons had a guided system instead of relying all the time on Sherpas that might or might not kick you for skill level while you're still learning the mechanics. Imagine others could more easily see the magic we experienced when we first started playing that's now obscured by complexity, legacy, and bloat. Maybe an opt-in analysis of bosses that might help augment your loadout to be more effective against stompy guardian murderers. Imagine there's a solution to all of this. Well, there isn't, but let me paint you a picture of a brand new suite of mods that might ease the burden of getting new players into the game in a clearer, quicker way, and how we can help others getting into endgame content and reducing the feeling that it's only for the chosen 10% of the player base. Make sure to stick around till the end when I look at how we can blend these new mod features into the active lore system from my previous video. This change is better than Destiny 3. I'm Neph, I'm a user interface designer, and I'm going to design the experience of turning our ghost into the guided light we need so badly. Firstly, can we agree the new light experience is jarring, overwhelming, and even when you start getting an idea of the scope of the game, you have to try and unravel the ranking system, leveling systems, gear stats, and subclasses. There are numerous mechanics and concepts to understand, but really I don't think we do get how massive the learning curve is. Here are some data to help you understand just how big this game has gotten. Currently there stands 14 standard vendors in the tower, 21 removed legacy vendors, 14 destination vendors spread out on 11 planets. These planets have 54 lost sectors with custom exotic missions and activities strewn throughout. Of the 3 ritual activities, there are 3 Vanguard op mission modes. We have 27 legacy strikes in Destiny 2, not including Battleground Arenas, the one and only Gambit, RIP dog, 8 PvP active modes, 17 legacy PvP modes, and 34 legacy maps previously available to us. 11 legacy sizable raids with 28 bosses to deal with. 8 dungeons with 21 bosses, and more time is taken to deal with these than you would like to admit. That is just the activities and modes in Destiny 2, but just as complex is the power leveling system that determines a player's overall strength. The power level is influenced by the gear they obtain, which comes with various statistics and perks. Understanding how to optimize gear and loadouts and build synergies with different stats can be a daunting task for new players. Additionally, subclasses which grant unique abilities and superpowers add another layer of complexity to the game's mechanics.
Well, that's a wipe.
Yeah, I can't kill him. Wait, maybe? Come on.
Well, I think we did something, but I gotta go cleanse.
Yep,
Whoever needs to cleanse, oh, we're dead. I'm gonna jump.
Don't think that it's just new lights that struggle with complex concepts in the game. The most significant struggle often arises when players reach the imposing endgame content, such as dungeons and raids and GMs. These activities demand coordination, teamwork, and knowledge of intricate mechanics. Just to get a raid under your belt for the very first time requires players to understand boss encounters, timing, positioning, and communication, all of which can be mind-boggling even for veterans. It's hard to underestimate the importance of players having to communicate effectively, assign roles and responsibilities, and adapt to the changing demands of that encounter. It's important to study guides, watch tutorials, and practice the encounters to have a solid grasp of the mechanics. Successful completion of endgame content not only offers valuable rewards, but also fosters a sheer sense of joy that you and your team beat the living shit out of that massive stompy fuckwad of a boss. Pure mangasm.
Twinkle, twinkle, Russian spaceport. It's quarantined now, and quite dangerous. But our only way forward is through that wall.
To deal with these challenges, Bungie has implemented some measures to help new players. The game provides introductory missions and tutorials to explain basic mechanics. Additionally, various online communities, forums, apps and guides exist to lend a hand to those seeking guidance. Matchmaking systems for some activities and new LFG have helped to bring players together and offer some solutions to letting players teach each other. Personally, I think that if a game like Destiny gets addicted to external apps and sites to explain what is happening in the game, and cannot communicate basic ideas to the new and seasoned players, then fundamentally, we have a problem, there's something wrong. These two problems are communication problems, and I think the solution for these is the mechanic that has been sitting in the palm of your hand since you were first resurrected. Your ghost. Funnily enough, I got the idea initially from playing the Rick and Morty creators game, High on Life. It's a fun first-person shooter game with action, adventure, and a Metroidvania element. The guiding principle here is the talking gun that sits in your right hand and explains things to you, occasionally telling you how shit you are, which I gotta say I love.
Oh, hey, you want to see a cool party trick I used to do? Aiming at those spinny platforms. Come on, give it a shot. It'll be fun. Fuck yeah, I told you. Did you see how fun that was? I call it my glob shot. It comes out of my trick hole. All Gatlians have a different kind of trick hole. Mine does this. Boy, you are learning a lot today, aren't you?
Why wouldn't we apply the same thinking to the ghost that sits in our hands at every step of the way? Currently in Destiny 2, we know of 87 unique ghosts with names, but ghosts these days have been relegated to a byproduct of necessity. It resurrects us when we need it, hacks consoles infinitely, and creates links with cosmic beings hell-bent on freezing the universe into a single moment. What was once the key element of uniqueness and companionship now has just become a hovering drip accessory. While it retains the ability to summon sparrows and exit activities, it isn't what it once was. The potential of this feature has been overlooked. The Ghost tool of exposition hasn't done any revealing of story, character, or roots for some time if you're a long-time player, but if you're a new light, it sets out the context and story initially, but after that, nada. These new suite of ghost mods I'm adding will help players simply navigate dungeons and raids, offering hints for secret areas and chests like a souped up version of the chest finder we have now, an analysis of boss's strength and weaknesses to help players refine their loadout for that boss, and a lore mod that will add an extra function to my active lore system for those that really don't want to spend a lot of time finding and reading lore books. What we need here is a new suite of thinking of mods for the Ghost that have levels of cost depending on how much you really want to be handheld and would be useful to get players exploring more difficult gameplay, bosses, and activities. My suggestion is that we equip a new suite of guiding light mods for the Ghost in the character screen, where all the other Glimmer and XP mods are currently laid out. These mods will put Ghost into a helper mode, where he can be used to hint and give visual cues for puzzles and provide direction when and where you need it, and of course, if you need it. The Ghost navigation abilities are particularly useful for players who are new to the game or unfamiliar with certain areas. By simply summoning the Ghost, players can have access to a waypoint system that directs them towards their objective or desired location. This feature makes it significantly easier for players to traverse vast landscapes and find their way in complex environments. If you've ever started into Crota's End, you will know the absolute shitshow that first encounter with the light mechanic can be, so maybe Ghost can offer a subtle direction for you and your team to go as you pass around the light mechanic like a demented basketball team being chased by Thrall. I'm not suggesting Ghost solves problems for you, but offers hints when you need them. In addition to navigation assistance, the Ghost also helps players locate essential characters within the game. Whether it's a significant NPC or a crucial ally, the Ghost can highlight their location and provide guidance on how to reach them. This proves invaluable, especially when players are required to interact with specific characters or progress the storyline or undertake significant quests. Yes, I know, this one is tailored for new lights, but it's useful to know if you can't read maps. Beyond aiding with navigation and character location, the Ghost has a remarkable talent for uncovering hidden secrets within the game. From hidden areas to secret loot caches, the Ghost can help players discover hidden treasures and valuable resources. It adds an exciting element to the gameplay, encouraging players to explore every nook and cranny of the game's expansive world. Chests in open world areas are available to be discovered by a Ghost mod anyway, but this adds more detailing for this functionality. One of the most impressive features of the Ghost is its ability to provide hints. This becomes especially useful in solving puzzles and understanding the intricate mechanics specific to dungeons and raids. Through its hint-giving ability, the Ghost can provide players with clues and insights that help them to overcome challenging obstacles and progress through tough encounters. For example, during a raid encounter where players need to coordinate and stand on a specific platform, the Ghost can offer visual cues, highlighting the correct platforms to stand on at the right time. This can prevent confusion and ensure players successfully complete the puzzle or encounter. Additionally, the Ghost can offer subtle hints to players for hidden secrets or unclear paths within dungeons and raids, allowing them to discover valuable loot, shortcuts, or even hidden bosses that might have otherwise been missed. We don't want to ruin the experience, we want to make it more accessible if the player or team want a helping hand rather than rage quit the activity. In many raids or dungeons, players encounter intricate mechanics that need to be activated or manipulated to open doors, activate platforms, or disable obstacles. The Ghost could analyze these mechanisms and provide an in-depth explanation of how they work, ensuring players understand the puzzle's mechanics. Some puzzles rely on visual cues or patterns that players must decipher to progress. The Ghost, with its ability to scan the environment, could highlight these visual cues and provide subtle hints as to how they should be interpreted. Some of the Garden of Salvation's patterns rely on players standing in sequences and moving with visual cues, which is not explained, and apart from having a second sight from God, I don't know how players work this out themselves without any help. Once again, newer players will struggle with observing intricate details or recognizing patterns, and can rely on the Ghost's ability to pinpoint important visual cues, enabling them to progress through puzzles more seamlessly. Many raids and dungeons incorporate challenging platforming sections where players need to navigate tricky jumps or moving platforms, especially if you're a Titan. The Ghost could either project a holographic path to guide players or call out the optimal timings for jumps, making these platforming challenges more accessible to new players. If you really want a great way of representing visual cues for something like jumping puzzles, have a look back at the classic game Titanfall 2. A hollow version of your character literally jumps and runs on the walls, offering a direct solution to traps and puzzles. Maybe the solution isn't that direct, but there could be an option of how much of a hint you need. For example, the current mods available for XP. You can use the new Guiding Light mod in the same way, with scaling levels of cost in relation to how much help you need. Raids and dungeons often feature boss encounters with unique mechanics and specific strategies to defeat them. The Ghost could provide context-specific information on boss weaknesses, such as vulnerable areas, specific actions required to deal damage effectively. Some games offer analysis of bosses' weaknesses and how susceptible they are to certain energy types, like our Arc, Solar, Void and such. There's possibilities that this could be something that the Ghost could offer depending on the needs of the player. Newer players who may not be aware of attack patterns or boss vulnerabilities can rely on the Ghost to give them strategic insights, allowing them to contribute more effectively to the team's success and making these encounters less daunting. Overall, the Ghost's ability to provide hints and solutions in the form of mechanism explanations, visual cues, platforming guidance, and enemy strategies can significantly benefit new players in raids and dungeons, and veterans, by reducing the learning curve and ensuring a smoother experience. The Ghost helps newer players feel more involved and competent, fostering a greater enjoyment of these challenging activities. In my previous design video, I discussed a new active lore system that could be activated by the player when they want to find out more about context, histories of locations and characters in the story. I think there's a possibility that we could tie in the new suite of mods into the Ghost so they could offer audio context to give even more texture and scope for new and veteran players alike. Maybe for those players that don't really want to read pages worth of weapon flavor texts and lore entries that offers some difficulty to even comprehend. Eris Morn is a former hunter and member of the Hidden who serves the Vanguard as their expert on Hive lore. She is the sole survivor of the ill-fated fire team led by herself and Ariana III that attempted to assassinate Crota after the Great Disaster. After guiding the Guardian on the path to Crota's destruction, she helped coordinate the fight against Oryx, the Taken King, while maintaining secret alliances with Queen Marisol of the Reef. Maybe my suite of new Ghost mods has applications beyond this, but this is the first thing that came to mind when thinking about the application of this particular solution to start to unwrap the scope of the world of Destiny and the activities held within her to new and old players of the game. These suggestions are for reducing the barrier to entry for understanding the scope of the game and getting into the higher end activities that a majority of the players just still don't touch. Whatever we can do to get more of the base, trying out these kinds of activities should at least be attempted, since right now it feels like this kind of content is custom made for fanboys and Elitist Datto style players. The overwhelming complexity of Destiny's gameplay and endgame content can be addressed by utilizing the potential of the Ghost as a guiding light for players. By equipping the Ghost with a new guiding light mod, players can access navigation assistance, uncover hidden secrets and hints, receive explanations of mechanics, and gain strategic insights for boss encounters. This not only reduces the learning curve and makes the game more accessible for new players, but also enhances the overall experience for new and veteran players. By tapping into the Ghost's capabilities, Destiny can provide a more immersive and enjoyable gaming experience for everybody. I'm Neph, and that was my video on making our Ghost useful again in Destiny 2. I hope you liked what I'm cooking, and want to hear more new ideas and fixes about the game we love and hate so much. If you have some thoughts on this Ghost fix, make sure to leave your thinking in the comments and I will make sure to answer your questions. Make sure to drop a like, a comment, and if you haven't done so, sub to the channel. Until next time, stay safe out there.